Hi, this is Karen from Hollywood Happenings, and welcome back. We're back with Linda Lee Hopkins. We're going to finish up our interview, and today we also have an added guest named Mr. Patchy.
No, he's gone now. He heard his name, so he's going to be a good boy now. Be a good boy.
Okay.
I'm having an interview now. Thank you.
Okay, now, we just to kind of refresh where I believe we left off, we were talking about the Tony Stowell Award.
Yeah. I think I spoke about that. Yeah, I did speak about that because I told you it's a group of African Americans who have been here for quite some time, some of them even over 40 years. And they started out as guys hanging out on Friday, playing cards and, whatever. They're from all walks of life and different, how can I say, different job descriptions. And then they started to do twice a year, like galas, there's balls. I can't say a ball because balls you come dressed in, your gowns and stuff like that. But a function, a springtime function and a wintertime function with all people. Americans in the community and some French people who are associated with American people. God bless you.
Thank you.
And so anyway, they decided a couple of years ago to do an award, to give awards to people in different fields like entertainment, journalism, and they're all Americans, in fact. Music, whatever. And so I was nominated in the entertainment field and I won the Best Entertainer of the Year. And I was up against some serious competition.
Who was some of your competition?
Oh, I don't know if you would even know them. People that are artists here in Paris who are making their mark.
Like the Bob Sinclair and...
No. They were local Americans. They were Americans, but Bob Sinclair is French. He's French. He's a DJ that I work with for quite a few projects, and we had a couple of hit tunes that are still working today. Actually, anywhere in the world, I can go anywhere in the world and people know this song. Even in America. In fact, he did the video in all 5 boroughs of New York.
Now, you worked with some pretty big name people, like from Prince to Gloria Gaynor, Al Jarreau.
I didn't really work with Prince. I opened for him at one of our large venues of 17,000 people.
And how was that, though, like for opening for a crowd of Prince's magnitude?
Well, it was kind of weird because I was singing with a local artist who actually spent most of his time in California. So he was more Californian than French, but somehow or another he got hooked up with that. And myself and 3 other Americans, we were kind of like his background support system. And to see them open the doors to 17,000 screaming Prince fans, trying to get the place up front because it was like stand-up placement on the floor and then seating in the rest of the stadium, but those seats were far back. So the people, who want to get close to the stage, they were, first come, first serve kind of thing, and they were like screaming and stuff, and so it was cool. And it was amazing because I would say 8-9 years later, when I became the artistic director of a choir here of 100 singers, I can't say one. They were we remember you because we were at the Prince concert, and this was when I did some like ad libs, and then my voice just filled the whole stadium. And so people remembered that. They were like, oh, yeah, we remembered that because when you began to sing ad-libs, we were like, oh, my gosh, listen to her voice. So, and it was interesting. He's a tiny little guy anyway. You know.
And what about Gloria Gaynor and Al Jarreau?
Gloria Gaynor, she was quite interesting. I mean, when we did the rehearsals, she wasn't there, so I had to end up doing all the same with Percy Sledge. As I knew all the songs, I sang the lead in the rehearsal for the musicians to do the rehearsal. But I mean, she was a nice lady. She was a nice lady.
What song did you have to sing in the rehearsal for her?
All of her songs. She had a whole show, you know. I Will Survive. I don't even remember. It's been so long ago. But all the songs that she would have had to sing in the show, I had to sing the lead in the rehearsals because she wasn't there. And same thing like for Percy Sledge. He was funny. I like working with him. Did quite a few festivals with him in Austria and Belgium, I think it was. I don't know, some places. Anyway.
What about Al Jarreau?
Al Jarreau was funny. He rode back with us. We had a tour bus, that carried like 3 or 4 different groups, the musicians to different well-known artists. The artists, of course, did not ride on the bus. They probably went by train or plane or whatever. But Al Jarreau decided to ride back to Paris with us. It was a 4 or 5 hour ride. And we sang all the way from Metz, France to Paris. And he was on the bus with us. It's kind of cool.
And how was Michael Bolton? Is he as hot in person as he is on television? And
hot meaning?
Sexy.
Not for me. No, sorry. Not for me. Didn't do it. In fact, I was one of a 12-member choir that was supposed to sing background with him. And it was kind of weird because it started out with 3 songs, and then the production contacted us. Oh, finally, we're not going to sing this one song, and then finally, so we ended up only singing like 1 song, but we spent 12 hours waiting to perform. And his opening act was Kenny G. And that guy he was the sweetest. I don't know, you probably saw a picture of him and I on Facebook. Me in a robe and him standing next to me. That was the day that we did the Michael Bolton thing. But he came with us in our dressing room, and we were singing because we had 12 hours waiting time. Okay, guys, stop. And during that time, we just chose songs and sang every song that ever was created, French, English, Spanish, whatever, we could think of to keep ourselves amused. And he came and he was talking to us and taking pictures with us, and it was nice. He was very nice. He was a very nice guy. That's Kenny G.
And what about your demo recording that you did for or with Ray Charles?
Oh, I think I spoke about that already. But it was. I'm sorry, I keep touching my face because you saw I have cats and they just come and give me hair all over my face. I was working with a group of singers, and we were doing a lot of session work together. And is that Mandy?
Mandy's over there.
Yeah, and so there was some kind of competition, I guess you say, for arrangers to do a version of John Lennon's Imagine. And they chose the best arrangement, and in fact it was the one that we had done. And I did the lead vocal on the demo tape for him to listen to choose. So he chose ours, and he did it, and he kept our voices on the background, and then he added some voices from the Harlem Gospel Singers, and to beef it up a little bit more. And he used it on his Strong Love Affair album. And then later on, his French manager, he contacted me when they found out he had gone to the hospital for some tests about something was going on with him. And they found out he had the cancer and that he was like beyond the the chemo stage. And so he wanted to write a song to say goodbye to his fans. So they called me to do the demo tape again. And we were in the studio, and they had it in his key, kind of high for me, but I'm one of these kind of troopers. I'll sing it whatever key it is. And then they were doing a version of it within my key with just a piano, like unplugged version. And his manager had called him, and he was listening on the phone as I was recording. So then after I finished recording, his manager passed me the phone, and I spoke with him, and it was an experience, really.
Okay.
To know that you were the only one that knew that Ray Charles was dying, because they hadn't released it to anyone yet. So it was a song, and I've been in touch with the composer of the song, because I want to do it and put it on my album as a tribute to him. But it was a beautiful song. It was called "This Is It," and amazingly enough, it was the same name as the Michael Jackson, the last film he did about his tour. This Is It. Yeah.
Different song, though?
Sorry?
Different song. Same title, different song.
Yeah, it's a different song, but just it's strange that it would be the same title.
Exactly.
Like their last thing that they do. It's called This Is It.
Now, we may have spoken about this. I'm just going to have you kind of recap your voice adventure in France. You were on The Voice.
Oh yeah, I was for a short period. I was. They kept calling me every year, every season, and I was like, no, it's not my thing. I don't need that. I got a career and blah 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 and yada yada. And finally, I met with the choreographer one day over tea and pastries, and he began to say, how interested they were to have me on the show. And I was like, no, it's not my thing. I'm not interested. And I was like, I've done this and this and this and this and this. And, I sort of like ran down my CV. And the guy just let me finish blowing myself up. And when I finished, he took out his arrow, and his ego arrow, and he just shouted and said, "But who knows you?" So he just deflated my big ego balloon. And he began to say, hey, it could be an opportunity for you. Lots of people will see you. You'll be exposed and whatever, So I thought, what the heck, what have I got to lose? What have I got to gain? So, those two questions were answered. I had nothing to lose and a lot to gain.
No, while you were in France, you said you had a couple big songs by Bob Sinclair. You already mentioned that. Now, Mark Cerrone?
Mark Cerrone is a well-known DJ. I worked with him when I first came to France back in the 90s.
And Michael Jonassy?
No, Jonas. Michel Jonas.
Michel Jonas.
These are French artists that... Michel Jonas, I think his name is... I don't think he's known outside of France, but he could be. I don't know.
OPL...
Ophélie Winter. Ophélie Winter is a singer. I think yeah, we talked about this because I told you her dad was David Winter or something like that, the famous guitarist, singer or whatever. And she's a French girl, and she has French pop music.
Now, how did do you consider yourself to be a diva?
No, not at all. No, I think I don't know. Maybe I actually never really looked it up what diva means, but it doesn't sound like it means something very, you know, nice to me. Like somebody who's wants specific things and want to be treated a certain way. I mean, okay, yeah. I mean, I have been there and said, okay, you know, like I'm not taking this or not doing that. But that's just that's a question of respect. But for someone who comes in demanding things like, okay, let's say I was hired and paid a lot of money to come somewhere, and then I came and at the hotel, I want them to paint my room pink. Well, no, to me, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Asking things like that, for me I consider that the diva kind of thing, or having a specific car, whatever. You know, as Paul said, I learned to be content in whatever, what is it he says? Whatever conditions I'm in, or something like that. To that effect. I don't know the exact quote, but kind of like. I mean, I like being pampered, but of course. But then, like, if it's not that, then it's not going to make or break.
Legendary Linda Hopkins.
Yeah, I call her Mom Hopkins, and when I call her on the phone, in fact, I need to call her because it's the new year and I haven't called her yet. I called her for her birthday in December. I just say it's Little Linda. And in fact, that history is a funny one because for 2.5 years, she worked across the street from me in New York. I worked at the Marriott Marquis, you know, the 48th floor that revolves. The 48th floor? 46 floors. Excuse me, I'm sorry. It's been so long ago, about 30-something years. But it was on 46th Street, so it was the 48th floor, right? And she was in black and blue right across the street, and I never went to see the show. And then my uncle lived on West 68th Street, and just at the end of that street was Sweetwater's, where she would always perform as well. I never went to see her there, so I never met her in the States. It was only here in Paris one time at the Lionel Hampton Room that she was going to be performing on that Monday, and I was the local group that performed on Sunday on the regular person, you know, the invited groups from outside. They performed from Monday to Saturday, and then on Sunday they just had a local group. So I was going to perform that Sunday night, and I heard someone speaking English, and I was just new here, so I was like jumping on anybody who spoke English. And it was her drummer, and he was talking to the sound man. They were getting the details ready for the next day and everything like that. So I came out and introduced myself, and I said, I'm Linda Lee Hopkins. He says, oh, you're the one I've heard about. So I said, okay, I'm going to come to the show the next day. So I guess he probably informed Linda that he had met me and I was coming to the show, but I didn't come. I came on the following day, on Tuesday. And I came in discreetly with my hat on and went over and sat in the dark in the corner. And she stopped in the middle of her show, and she was like, is that who I think it is? That's my daughter. That's my daughter, Linda. And I said, she stopped the show, and she brought me up on stage and did her thing. She had this crazy thing that she used to do in the middle of her performance. She would ask the bartender to bring her a beer and get a big glass of beer, and the saxophonist would take the glass and he'd drink a little bit, enough to take off the foam from the drink, and then she would drink it with a drum roll and then burp on the mic, you know. So she wanted me to do it with her. So I was like, okay, look, I'll drink the beer, but I'm not burping because I have to work here in this town, you know. But that was her thing. That was her thing. She was known for that. And she's a fantastic lady. I mean, I love her, and a lot of people do love her. And as Dennis Smith specified on his post one day, because I posted something, I said, Mom, whatever, he said, he made it clear that she has no children, but she adopted so many people throughout her career. And it's the same, and you know, it's funny because we have the same name. We're not related in any way. We just have the same names, but we also almost have the same life a bit, you know. I never had kids, but people call me mom, especially being the artistic director, like of a choir of 100 people, young people, and they all call me mom. So I adopted many, and just until today, I have some young kids who call me mom. I mean, for me, it's kind of a term of endearment to be called that. Like they look up to me.
Now, Hollywood Happenings, it's growing, and they're coming up with the first annual Hollywood Happenings Award, which gets singers like yourself or, you know, like local talent. You know, not like your really big name performance that you're going to see on the Grammy or the American Music Awards. And you were recently nominated for the Hollywood Happenings for the female artist. How does that?
Well, that's a Hollywood happening then. But for me to be, it's an honor and a pleasure because for me, little old me, I'm not known or anything like that. And especially all the way here in Paris, to be nominated in California, that's an honor. A big honor, actually.
And now, your adopted mom, because she adopted, sounds like she adopted you.
We adopted each other, actually.
Okay, you guys adopted each other. She's also going to be getting the Hollywood Happenings Lifetime Achievement Award.
Okay.
Could you speak on that, or maybe?
I think
like
she
kind of like a little
deserves
small
that and more.
presentation.
I think she deserves that and more because she's a very giving woman. She has a huge heart, and I mean she's just really a sweet lady. And you know, from the time that I've known her, I just think that she's adorable. I just love her.
Now, you were speaking with me in closing about something that they gave her, and she couldn't take it because it was too big. She gave it to you. What was that?
It's like an oar. Wait a minute. Hold on one second. I'll go fetch it. I don't know if you can see this. This is a huge, like an oar, a paddle, or whatever you want to call it. And it's actually the dancers of her show Black and Blue gave it to her. I'm trying to see which year, if they signed a year or whatever. I think it was for her 71st birthday or something like that. Anyway, they told her that they were giving it to her and she could use it if any of the kids get out of line. She can whack them with it. I mean, it's actually like an oar. It looks like an oar that you can use in a boat. But because she couldn't take it on the plane with her, she left it with me. And her grits and a whole lot of other stuff because she traveled with all her cookware. So
what was her favorite meal? Grits or?
I don't know. You know, I never ate with her like that. We ate in restaurants.
She cooked her own meal, or?
Sorry?
You said she traveled with her cookware.
Yeah, because she stayed in kind of like a pension apartment where they had a kitchen. So as everything is expensive here, it saved her some money by cooking for herself, and she would cook for the kids too, like some of the dancers or the other ladies, because she had the two other ladies singing with her. So I guess she would do a lot of the cooking. And
so is she a good cook?
Apparently, yes. Yeah. I never ate in it for cooking, but whenever we were together, we went out to a restaurant.
Now, do you know any of her songs? Have you performed any of her songs in your shows?
No, never. I'm not a blues singer. I'm not. I mean, I could sing some blues. I mean, if I had to. I was in a show with her in 2004. I was actually in a group called Three Ladies of Blues, and she was our guest. So we did a festival in Vienne, France, and it was kind of like an amphitheater. You probably saw some photos of that on my Facebook page. It's like an amphitheater outside, and if I recall, it was like almost 100 degrees, and it was like 5,000 people strong. And she got on that stage, and they just wouldn't let her go. I think she did 3 callbacks. We had to pull her up, basically off the stage. She was just so amazing, and we the group that I was in, we do tribute to all the old blues ladies like Ma Rainey, Billie Holiday, all the blues ladies. So we would choose, each of us would choose a lady, a person to represent, and we do a couple of her songs. So I think I chose Dinah Washington and Billie Holiday. And then we dress up in these sequin gowns with feathers in our heads and fans and the whole 9 yards, boas and things like that. And we just do a funny blues show called The Three Ladies of Blues.
Now, in closing, recently Paris had a little, like a terrorist thing about that, the newspaper thing.
Yeah, well.
What can you say about that that's not too political?
It's all political. I mean, you can't not be political about it, because it is a question of I don't even know how you can say that, how I can say this, but these people, they function under the radar of the security system because they were citizens of this country. And even in America, if you begin to target people because of what they look like or because of their background, you become a racist, and they want to stay away from things and be politically correct here. It's not, I'm not afraid or anything like that, but the fact is that we don't even know what's going to happen. And okay, I just say, for example, the reason, I can't even say that the exact reason was the cartoon that they did, but even the cartoon itself, I understand a freedom of speech, but I'm certainly against making fun of someone's beliefs. Okay, you can have the right to freedom of speech or whatever, but just being blatantly disrespectful to someone's beliefs, I think that is I wasn't cool with that really at all. And at some point, when you're dealing with radical extremist people, your life and the life of anyone outside of what they believe in is not important to them. That's what their goal is to be a martyr. So being a martyr, you can take out a whole bunch of innocent people, and it was just tense. It was just tense, and the fact is, it was like America at 9/11. It woke them up and saying, "Hey, this can happen on our own territory." Because when you see it happening in someone else's country, like, oh, those poor people, war and terrorism, whatever, and then it comes to your front door, and you're like, oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting you, I wasn't ready for you, and it caught him off guard. It caught him off guard. A French person told me, they said, the fact that pay the police a lot of money here, and their police force is minimal or whatever, blah blah blah. I said, but you know what? I can have something to say about that. If I gave an example, like Russia, I know that they're very poor. They're very very poor there. They don't make a lot of money. They make something like maybe $350 a month salary or whatever, but I guarantee you, if something happened on Russian soil, they'll come out in full force. It's not about how much they get paid, it's about the security of the country. So if you have an attitude like, oh, because you don't pay me any money, I'm not gonna make an effort to do my job, that's a poor attitude to have. But anyway, like I said, I just pray that this is put under control, because if it gets out of hand, it's going to be dangerous for everybody. Because the fact that these people are French citizens, so they they can come and go as they please.
Now, were you that large, all those people that was in the, where was it at? All those millions of people that was there? Did you go out?
The march?
Yes.
No, not at all. I wasn't. It's not my thing.
So.
Because I know, for me, I don't condone terrorism or anything like that. First of all, I don't like crowds, and second of all, I just thought, if something happened where some silly person threw a firecracker in the crowd, that could cause a stampede, that could cause people to get hurt. But thank God it was a peaceful march. But like I said, I didn't participate, no. And tomorrow they will come out with their first paper since the incident last Wednesday. I think the paper comes out on Wednesday, and normally they print 60,000 copies, but tomorrow they're gonna release 3 million copies.
So tomorrow,
16 different languages.
So they'll release it at January the 14th.
Yeah.
Of 2015.
Yeah, because, and today is Russian New Year, so they would say "Snubin Godam," means Happy New Year.
How do you say Happy New Year's in France? In French.
In French, Bonne année.
Bonne année.
Bonne année.
Bonne année.
Mes meilleurs vœux, my best wishes, surtout pour la santé, certainly for your
Merci
health,
beaucoup.
et prospérité, et pour la joie, the joy, et plein de bonnes choses, a lot of good things.
And stay tuned to Hollywood Happenings and the full interview within the next couple of weeks. By then, we will have Linda.
Can I just say a big thank you to Denny Smith, who I don't personally know, but he reached out to me because we do share a mutual mom, Linda. And because of Denny, I met you. So, Patchy, can you say goodbye? You said hello. Can you say goodbye? Say hello.
Bye, Patchy.
Stay tuned for Hollywood Happenings. For Hollywood Happenings. .web.com. But a better version. Stay tuned for Hollywood Happenings. .web.com. And my interview, Linda Lee Hopkins, interviewed by Karen Kay.
Of Hollywood, California.
Of Hollywood Happenings, California.
With Mr. Patches and
Patches
and Mandy Lynn.
And Mandy Lynn and Leo, who doesn't want to be on camera.